Punk really changed my life in a way that I never expected. I'd probably still be married to my first wife if it was for the Outcasts.
Tell me the whole story, kid.
Well, in 1977, the Outcasts were in Belfast, and it was a very violent environment. It was war on the streets basically, and the army on the streets. The Outcasts were, I suppose they couldn't play their instruments at the start, so they were learning their instruments over the first 5 years on the road. I had a punk rock fanzine in 1979, and I interviewed the Outcasts at that time, and I was, quite frightened going to meet them because they had quite a reputation for violence, and I thought they were going to kill me. But I survived that interview, and we kind of kept in contact vaguely over the next 35 years. And then in 2012, Kate and I, we recorded a live concert of theirs in Dublin, and we made a DVD out of it. And while we were going through that film with the band, we kind of realised what an interesting bunch of people they were, and what a hilarious bunch of people they were, and that they had an interesting story to tell. So we started to interview them, digging into the history and also digging into the Reformation as well, and what it was like to be almost 60 and back on the road.
Nobody said to us, go and make a film. Like, we just did it, and you can probably see that in parts of it that we didn't have much budget, and there was things we were learning on the go, but it's all about that DIY kind of, and that's something that the band were really into too, and so they were playing before they could play their instruments, and we were basically making a film before we could make a film, really, in a lot of ways.
If one city was born for punk, it was like Belfast.
We're living in a shithole. Let's change it. We were there during the Troubles, offering people in Belfast nights off from that there.
I do believe we were one of the first generations that brought people from different communities together through a love of music.
I'm in my mid-50s, and most of the band and a lot of their old fans are in their mid-50s, so it was really about punk as well, and are you still a punk, and what does punk mean to an elderly person? And we found that a lot of the band really were still deeply punk in their philosophy and the way they lived their lives, and no ego, no interest in material success. So it was really refreshing and interesting, and for me as an old punk as well, to find out that it's not just about music that happened historically, it's actually a living philosophy.
So my taste in music would be hip-hop primarily, and but a lot of other things too. So Dad is very accepting and into hip-hop, but I think when it veers a little bit too R&B cheesy, I think that's when he might say ugh, and run away, because that's the opposite of punk, right?
Generally, I find with the younger generation and with having kids, is that they're always introducing you to new music and keeping you current and stop you from listening to the old historical stuff. So I find it really refreshing. It's been a really fun journey. It's like the best fun you could ever have. For me anyway, I get to make a film with my daughter about my favourite band, so that's not bad. Trying to be cool now, but feeling.
That was very. I think that
I
was.
don't even know
cool.
if he is R&B, but
That was cool. That was cool.